So good, bro. Welcome, people. Back again with the stupid yellow hat. My name is Reese. I'm a guitar player based out of Michigan. And yesterday I kind of had this idea that I'm just this random guy on the internet that teaches you things and or reviews gear. And I thought it would be cool as a way of kind of letting you guys get to know me a little bit if I went over some of my old music with you guys and reacted to it, as it's been a long time since I've listened to it myself, and I think there's a lot of interesting things that can be gleaned from, looking at your past work. I thought that'd be kind of a cool way to get to know me. I don't know, so I guess we'll see how it goes. There's probably going to be a few key complaints that I continue to have about this album as it was recorded back when I was a little bit less experienced, and those are going to be things like the mix, maybe the general songwriting, but as a whole, I'm proud of the work that I did, and I kind of wanted to share it and see what could be learned from it. So I guess starting off, I'll tell you a little bit about how the album was made. So back maybe 4-5 years ago at this point, I was really into a band called Toe, and the keen-eyed among you will notice that this strange Deerhead vinyl is Toe's first album. Yeah, that was one of my key influences back in the day, the kind of Japanese math rock sound. And it was the first time that I found music where I felt like I fit in. Because when I was younger, I didn't really listen to rock and roll like all my other friends did. I didn't really listen to a lot of pop stuff. I mean, of course I did. Of course I liked it. I heard it on the radio and stuff. But the kind of things that got me going were more guitar-centered music, like nu metal, acoustic instrumental music, strange things, maybe like even a little bit of jazz or jazzy adjacent stuff was kind of my wheelhouse growing up. So I never really felt like I had a good example of the kind of music that I wanted to make until I heard Toe for the first time. And as you'll probably hear in this album, if you want to cross-reference with Toe, I copied the shit out of them. So you're gonna hear a lot of Toe isms, maybe even a little bit too much so, but those are things we can get into. But anyway, let's dive into it with our first track called Intro/Loathing. Reverse guitar thing, that's cool. I remember. Okay, I see what I'm doing there. So, yeah, I think this song it's not really a song, it's just an intro to the album. Kind of gives you a vibe of what I was going for. Completely acoustic, just I think I grabbed a microphone, like a little tom or snare microphone, and set it up on my guitar, as well as having it plugged in DI, and I'm kind of like mixing the two together in the mix. The mix actually isn't too bad. It's kind of basic, bare bones, kind of little acoustic in the moment thing. So It didn't have to be that complicated, but yeah, I really like that. Even still, there's a lot of interesting like harmonies and stuff that I'm using. Keep in mind, this is back before I started learning music theory, so like I didn't know what I was doing. I was just playing stuff that I thought sounded good. I had been playing guitar for quite a while at that point, but hadn't really gotten super technical aside from maybe some like finger style stuff and like some tapping here and there. Yeah, I really like that. That's a vibe. There's a vibe there, you know? Yeah, I guess let's go on to the next song on this album. It's called Little Seven. I don't love the drums. I'm pretty sure these are just MIDI drums. So not a whole lot of character in them, and they sound kind of bad. But anyway. Interesting. Kind of a weird pause. Repetitive, but that's okay. It's par for the course. We got the geese and stuff. There's the little atmosphere at the end. Yeah, so that song came about while I was hiking, believe it or not, at a local park near me. It's called Seven Lakes State Park. And there's this theme in the park where they name two of their major lakes. One is called the Big Seven and the other is called the Little Seven. And the Big Seven is the one that everyone typically goes to because it's the bigger lake. People fish on it, they boat on it. But I personally found the much less visited Little Seven Lake to be what I needed at the time. I was kind of looking for a nice place to kind of escape reality, enjoy nature. And yeah, I just had this moment while I was out. You know, maybe I stopped to have a snack or something, but I remember having this moment which inspired this song, which is why you hear the geese and stuff in the background and the waves splashing. So yeah, that's kind of what this song signifies to me. But as far as mix, I liked it when the guitars come in, but the drums just they kind of ruin it for me. As a whole, it's a cool composition. There's a weird little pause thing in there that's kind of I think out of all the songs, this one sounds the most like a Toe song to me for whatever reason. But yeah, with that being said, let's move on to the next track called Gutter Boy. Kind of groovy. Yeah, so that one it's kind of one of those songs that you just you know that you need to be doing something and you're not really totally inspired, but I did have this one idea. I wanted to kind of capture the emotion of like a little kid who's angry at his parents for like the first time in his life and he wants to run away. So that's why I called it Gutter Boy, because it's like the version of you that ran away from your parents and never came back. That's kind of the idea that I had rolling around in my head. But yeah, that song I believe also has MIDI drums, so not the best mix wise, but it's cool. It's kind of cute. It has like a lo-fi, like a real lo-fi vibe. You know, it's recorded pretty basically. Same technique for the guitars and stuff. Guitar work is a little sloppy here and there, but it's not the worst, if I do say so myself. It's not the worst, but it's definitely a little sloppy. I could have re-recorded a bunch of it, but I'm happy with it. It gets the point across, and I think it works as a composition. Yeah, just a fun little song, not the most serious work that I've done, but it's one of those fun songs. Okay, I guess we can move on. So, fourth track is called Longing for People, and it's the first track that I had help on. Right around the time I was recording this, I was putting ads on Craigslist for people to join the band, because I was trying to make this like a band project at that point. I found a guy by the name of Karthik. What's up, Karthik? If you're watching this, love you, bro. I believe he helped me with the bass on this. I believe this song also has real drums. I found this guy from a Japanese math rock band that I really admired. I admired the way he played. And it just so happened that he was offering his drums as a service. Basically, you could pay him to play on your track. So I did that. So this song has real drums, called Longing for People, and yeah, I guess we can get into it. This one kind of has a slow build. The high pass kind of thing going on. Filter sweep. Yeah, so we had the little delay pedal there, the analog delay feedback. They like feedback onto their self. That's like a trope in a lot of Toe songs. So had to be on my record, obviously. So I bought an old or a cheap analog delay for that sound. But yeah, so that song was called "Longing for People." Kind of a sad name. But I got that name from a haiku. Haiku. It's like a Japanese poem. The poem goes, "I long for people, then again I loathe them," which is the name of the album. Yeah, I don't know. That just it spoke to me because I'm a person who I guess often wants to be around people or be with people, but doesn't necessarily always love my time being spent with them, if that makes sense. I'm sure some of you understand. But yeah, that kind of inspired the name for that song and for the album. Okay, so next track we have a song called Blenanetna. It'll make sense why here in a second. Blenanetna. Yes. Long pause so I can switch guitars. It's kind of slick, kind of smooth. Yeah, that's a silly little song. Probably the silliest one I did. It's kind of that little riff thing. That's kind of a meme on my end. It's just a stupid little lead thing. Believe it or not, that song almost didn't make it. I guess you can tell me whether it should or it shouldn't have. But I remember I was hanging out with my buddy George, and I was playing him a bunch of music, saying that I wanted to put all of my material together in one thing and release it. And I had most of these songs, but I was still missing a couple. So I was just showing him stuff that I had, and he's like, "Put that on there. That sounds finished." I was like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, that slaps. I think it's catchy." So I trusted him and threw it on there, and now it's part of it. So. Thanks, George. It's a good idea. Next song is called "This Isn't the House I Remember." I believe this song is right around the time that I found enough people to actually have a band. I had a bass player, a drummer, another guitarist, and myself. So it's kind of new for me. I had never recorded drums myself at this point. So you might hear some of the inexperience in the mix, but like I said, that's going to be one of the main complaints about this. It's my first first piece of work. But yeah, we have my boy Connor on drums, we have my boy Corey on bass, and we have my boy Karthik on other guitar. And then we have me on guitar as well. It's kind of a dream come true for me, this song, just because I get to play with other people, and that was kind of the point of this project in the first place, was to make real music with real people. So here it goes. This isn't the house I remember. Got that delay thing again, of course. Another long intro. Like it was yesterday. Remember, there's supposed to be another lead in this part, but we never recorded it, so it just repeats. It's still fine. Repetition's okay. So yeah, I remember we had kind of an interesting approach as a band. We were all a little bit more mature, so we all kind of worked together in a very seamless way, which I think I got very lucky having them as a first band, because it was the first band I was in. I didn't know anything, but they're all extremely easy to work with. I was probably the most hard-headed out of all of them, being the youngest, but they were just so easy to work with, and they brought good ideas to they brought me good ideas. So whenever somebody wanted to do like a little solo, or maybe add a couple bars for this or that, it was like a easy yes for me, just because I loved their playing so much and I love them as people. So yeah, I wanted to hear more of them. Yeah, that song hits home for me. That was like the first time that I jammed with people as like a full band and got that experience, with the live in the room with the drums and the amps and everything. And every time I listen to it, it immediately puts me in that setting. It's almost like I'm jamming with them and from my little part of the universe now. So yeah, that's cool. That's got to be one of my favorite songs on the record, just because of them. Playing with them was awesome. It's kind of disappointing we didn't get that second lead recorded for the second half of that, but a little bit of repetition never killed anyone. So yeah, I guess we can move on to the next song, which is my first song, called Happy for a Day. I remember I recorded this first out of this whole album, and it kind of set the tone for me. And if you're an astute Toe fan, and you probably will recognize this lead that I kind of straight up just ripped from them. I think the song goes enough places to where that's not a huge issue, but it sounds a little too close for my taste. But anyway, Happy for a Day.
Have I been happy for a day? I can't tell, so you tell me.
Here's that lead. This one's kind of a hard listen for me. All this kind of atmosphere that I'm building that doesn't really go anywhere. One of my main criticisms of this song. Some beach vibes. That's a cute little ending. So yeah, that song, that was my first song. You'll notice it has lyrics in the beginning, which is strange for primarily a guitar player, really. But yeah, I grew up singing. It's not something that I talk about often, but my background in music is mostly before I started playing guitar when I was like 12, 13-ish. I sang and I really enjoyed singing. I wanted to be a singer. I don't really sing much anymore, just for the sheer fact that I struggle writing lyrics and putting together like a concise song. It's one of my weaknesses as a musician when it comes to songwriting is the lyrics. So I don't know. I thought it would be kind of an interesting idea to have that one line at the beginning and then have this song kind of answer the question. The lyrics are, "Have I been happy for a day? I can't tell, so you tell me." And then the song would kind of like take you inside to my perspective without any more words and let you decide for yourself whether or not I've been happy for a day. So I guess it accomplishes that in my mind. It kind of goes weird places and you're not really sure if it's totally happy, if it's totally sad, which is another one of the major themes for this project, is just kind of exploring some of the emotions that are difficult to put into words. So yeah, I thought that was a good first song. Obviously it made it to the record because I believed in it enough. And yeah, I mean, MIDI drums, everything is me. It's either me or it's programmed in this song. So yeah, not expecting too much out of it, but yeah, it's cool little first song. Happy with it. I have been happy for a day. I can answer that. I'm not a chronically depressed person. Yeah, so now we get on to the last two songs, both of which I think are my definite favorites, both in the writing process and just the sound of them. These songs are really special to me, and I'll explain a little bit as to why after we listen to them. So here's the next track. It's called Two Suns. that's a cool song. That's one of my personal favorites. Just because I feel like it encompassed my goal of just the album as a sound. It sounded the way that I imagined that it should. Has the weird time signature thing in the beginning. Ba da 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 ba da 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 da, that kind of thing in the like the chorusy section of it. I thought elicited a lot of emotion. It was epic, I guess is the word that I would use. It like took you somewhere, and it felt like it paid off that long acoustic intro. But I mean, as a song, it's kind of weird. It's kind of like this acoustic ballad between two guitars, and then you have this intense section, and it's sandwiched by those same ballad guitars at the end. But as a whole, I really like that song even still. It's one of the ones that I probably listened to the most, almost as much as the last song on the record, and we'll get into why. But yeah, that's one of my favorites. Hopefully you enjoyed it. But yeah, with that being said, let's move on to the last song of the record. This song is called Remind Me to Forget. It's another song that I recorded with the whole band. Started as a bass riff from our guy Corey. He's playing these bass chords, and he's like, I'd really like to put some bass chords in a song. I don't hear that often. And we were all like, yeah, sure, let's try it. So we got this song out of it. man. Okay. So yeah, I think as a whole, that's probably my favorite song. I feel like we had had enough practice at that point, and we'd been jamming and writing enough stuff to where that just kind of came naturally. And even though it's a little bit simple in parts, I feel like as a song, it makes the most sense. It takes you on a journey. Man, like I could have done a video on this whole song, this song by itself. That to me was like the pinnacle of what I wanted the band to sound like. You can really hear everyone doing kind of their own thing, and it's coming together in a really beautiful way in that song. And man, like I don't often praise myself, but as that's not 100% me by myself. It's the band. You know, I think we sound pretty damn good. I mean, there's some things mix wise, like I never double tracked anything, which is kind of dumb. I kind of just panned myself to one side and panned Karthik to the other, and then the drums and the bass sat somewhere in between. But I mean, as a song, it's still sick. I mean, you can't convince me that that's not sick. Like that's the kind of music that I wanted to be making and listening to. So yeah, I mean, I'm just really proud of that. That's like there's something there. Kind of gives me like early 2000s vibes. Playing PlayStation in the middle of summer with your parents or your brother or whatever. Kind of has like this nostalgic sound to it, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, that song's called "Remind Me to Forget." I can't really get into why it's called that because that's not my story to tell. But yeah, man, that song does it for me, really. Yeah, I was listening to it, getting a little bit of emotional because I remember when I sent this to the guys, and Karthik said something that I thought was very fitting that I just remembered. He said it's kind of interesting how like the album flows in such a way where it's like you most of the time, and then you have this one last big final send off, and then it's just like you playing at the end, and it kind of fades out. And he thought it was fitting because that's kind of around the time that we broke up and we all kind of changed. We all started to pursue other things, just for very practical reasons. No one was paying attention to the music, and they live kind of far away from me, so it was kind of difficult to record anything or get anything done. So I was basically writing majority of the material, kind of okaying things, and it just kind of sizzled out in a natural, kind of mundane way, as a lot of bands do, which is the unfortunate reality of being a musician nowadays. We had fun. I know I did. I guess I'll speak for myself. I know I had fun. These are memories that I'm gonna have for the rest of my life, you know, whether or not the music stands on its own. Like, I had so much fun recording it with those guys. So yeah, that's I don't want to end on a sad note, but that's kind of the album, you know. We had a lot of fun recording it. Yeah, I guess it goes to show you, like, it might not be the best thing, but it's music, you know. At the end of the day, we make this stuff because we love it. We're not trying to feed an algorithm or please a giant audience of people. We just want to make music that we want to make, and we want to like the sound of it. So I guess that's kind of the crux of this whole project. So on that end, it was a massive success. You know, I'm extremely proud of the work that we did as a band, and I'm proud of myself for getting this stuff finished to a point where I could put it out for once in my damn life, because I struggle with putting out music. Bit of perfectionism, if anybody can relate to that. But yeah, I think as an album, it's kind of an insecure album because I've called them demos, but you know, I think that's because some of the songs are a little short and we didn't record everything that we wanted to. But as a whole, I think it came together and it can stand on its own two legs as being, you know, my first documented journey into music. But yeah, so the channel, the band is called Mugen. It's still up on YouTube if anybody wants to go check it out. You don't have to. Played you all the material that we have, so if it gets enough traction, maybe we'll do a little reunion and we'll come back together and make something. But no promises. We've all kind of moved on and went our separate ways when it comes to creative direction. But yeah, I guess that was me reacting to myself and my old music. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it gives you a little bit of insight into me as a musician and a guitar player. So that's kind of the whole point of the video. I guess without further ado, I've been Reese. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this and you want to see other stuff in the future, like, comment, subscribe, all the things. And yeah, I guess I'll catch you guys later.